On this show, we like to celebrate greatness. So, Alex, we're going to have today, I will be revealing my declarations of excellence. The top 10 best run sports teams currently in America. Very, very, not just because you're in a big market and can afford it. It's more than that. Are you manipulating the cap? Are you ahead of the curve on analytics? Here we go. Our top 10 current sports cultures are excellence upstairs in sports.
Number 10.
The Tampa Bay Lightning, under John Cooper, all they do is win year after year. 8 of 9 years, they've made the playoffs. 2 of the last 3 Stanley Cups they've won. They've reached 3 straight. Most wins of any NHL franchise in a decade, and they manipulate the cap very smartly. This is really well run. Now, they didn't beat the Avalanche because this year nobody was going to beat the Avalanche. But the Tampa Bay Lightning, I covered them for a couple years in Tampa, drank a lot of beer and went to a lot of those games. And they weren't this well run, although they were a playoff team.
Number 9.
Listen, we got to give the Boston Celtics credit. They were a winning team during a rebuild. And they did it again this past week when they got Malcolm Brogdon and did not have to give up any key pieces to get a really nice player. Brad Stevens was an excellent coach. He moved upstairs. He got you Al Horford. He just got you Malcolm Brogdon. And when you can rebuild Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens, and you're competitive and you're viable, usually you got to bottom out, get some draft picks. The Celtics, win or not, they just hired another great coach. Just hiring back-to-back good coaches is really hard in pro sports. Celtics 9.
Number 8.
Buffalo Bills. Since they got the new owners, they've done a really good job. They got a smart GM. Sean McDermott's an excellent coach. Back-to-back years, they've now won the Patriots division, which was the Patriots division for 20 years. They took a chance on Josh Allen, and each year they've supplanted him with more and more receiving talent. They draft well. It's a very well-run franchise. The other 2 franchises in the state of New York are a mess. This is the team of record for the next 10 years in that state, the Buffalo Bills.
Number 7.
The Milwaukee Bucks quietly made another really good move. Drew Holiday was a good move. Stealing Chris Middleton from Detroit was a good move. Going all in on Giannis was a good move. And this past week, they picked up Joe Ingles from Utah. Another really smart move, a guy who's played in the playoffs, can hit threes. They have 6 consecutive playoff appearances and the most wins in the NBA since they hired Mike Budenholzer.
Number 6.
The Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's amazing. They won the World Series last year without their best player and Charlie Morton, one of their better pitchers. They've won the National League East in 4 consecutive years. The Braves, when I was a kid, were awful. And then they got John Sherholtz and all those great pitchers, and they were good for 2 decades. And they have one of the biggest fan bases in Major League Baseball. And it's hard to find. Most players that play there love the organization. In the heart of the South, they do it right. It has been, for as long as I can remember in the last 20 years, just a really smart, viable, strong revenue baseball franchise.
Number 5.
Kansas City Chiefs, owner, GM, coach, quarterback. They also have courage. They traded Tyreek Hill for 5 draft picks. That's not easy to do, to let go of a great player. But they did, and they got a lot back in return. 7 straight years, 10-plus wins. So they won with Alex Smith. They're winning with Patrick Mahomes. Again, they do it right. Top down. Hunt family, Brett Veach, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and the courage. They rebuilt their offensive line in about a 3-month period. Remember that? Draft and free agency? And they hit home runs during it. Well run.
Number 4.
Miami Heat. It's a event town. You know, you got to keep people on their toes there because there's so many things to do with that aqua water. But I think they're well-run, well-owned, smartly coached. Only Steve Kerr, since Spoelstra's become the coach, only the Warriors have won more games. And they have the 2nd most wins in that era. And I just think when I think of the Heat, they make you play, they make you practice, they make you be committed to the defensive end. I still think it is staggering. They took the Boston Celtics 7 games. And that a lot of that is just a willingness to be coachable and a willingness to do things you don't always want to do. The hallmark of a great team is getting everybody to buy in, and it doesn't matter if Shaq's there or D-Wade or LeBron and Bosh or Jimmy Butler. People buy in down in Miami.
Number 3.
Well, the Dodgers have made the playoffs 9 straight years, and their research and development has to be good because every time they bring a guy from the minor leagues, he's a smash hit. They've had the best record in baseball for 10 years. Now, it's hard to win a World Series. Really hard. So, pitching and breaks, but they do have the highest payroll in baseball. But they're also in a division with excellent teams. The Padres are excellent. The Giants are excellent. So this is a really, really good division, and they're sort of the gold standard of how to do it.
Number 2.
I got to give the Rams credit. The degree of difficulty to come into a city and hire Sean McVay in a brutal division, not only do they win, they have kind of changed the culture of the league. They said, we're not playing starters in the preseason. We're not making it Club Med, but we will take care of our players. And it's fascinating to watch. They do not pay safeties or linebackers or guards or tight ends. And teams are now starting to copy them. If you're a quarterback, a left tackle, an edge rusher, a corner, or a receiver, you'll get paid. But they do it without first-round picks. They have their own way of doing it, and it is absolutely working.
Number 1.
The Warriors. I don't think they have a weakness. From drafting, developing, culture, some of it begins and ends with Steph Curry. But the fact they won pre-KD, with KD, post-KD, I didn't think they'd win this year. I thought they were too young in certain spots and too old and expensive in others. I think they're about as well run as a professional sports team could be. And we really haven't seen we haven't seen Kuminga and Moses Moody and James Wiseman. They have 3 young players that are coveted on the market. If they were willing to part with them, they could get a lot in return. So they have another wave of great, great young players about to introduce themselves to this great nation. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.